Hello everyone. Welcome to the Open AGI Forum. I'm Eric Wong from CFDM. Today we're honored to have Richard Vancu join us in Beijing. He built the sixth largest supercomputer in the world, and now he's going to talk about his career path. So welcome Vancu. Please take a brief introduction about yourself and let our audience know more about you.
Hi, my name is Richard Vancu. I'm 56 this year. Have pretty long career in computing. I started as an electronics engineer, actually with radio specialization. On my university time, we only have like Z80 computers. So at the very beginning of the internet, we were connecting with modems. I don't know if your generations know about that. Anyway, so I watched the internet grow and the computing industry grow. I've been working my entire life in Romania. And when I finished the university, I became an entrepreneur. I started my own company. This was actually after the Romanian Revolution in historical terms. So we were allowed to start companies at the time. So I just jumped into that and had, I don't know, several companies over the time. Towards 2005, I did the first exit. We sold my biggest company. I was just a partner to NES Technologies, and after that, I took some, let's say, sabbatical years. And then I got married. My wife is a dental surgeon, so having some cash aside, and she had this profession. I decided to build a dental clinic for her. So I ran this for several years. I don't know, 5-6 years. Then we sold that clinic as well. And we moved from the Romanian capital, Bucharest, to a mountain city called Sibiu to help our children go to the German school. Sibiu is like the most German-related city in Romania. The German school is the best in Sibiu. And of course, the congestion is lower. We can walk to the school. In Bucharest, we have to spend a lot of time commuting every day. So that's like a personal path. Of course, during pandemics, we had to stay at home, including my wife, because the dental clinic was closed for several months. So getting bored, I decided to learn. Did online course about, I don't know, 1 year or almost 1 year, master in AI engineering. Finished that in 2021. And started to look around what to do with my new knowledge. So in Romania, 2021, AI was nothing, no meaning. So I found on GitHub some initiatives of people trying to replicate DALL-E. So DALL-E model from OpenAI was just out, and people tried to do that the same in a kind of open source way. So everyone could have access of such image generators. So I joined the GitHub communities, then the Discord servers, where I met my current colleagues from LAION, and it was just a bunch of people trying to do something. It was clear pretty soon that the success lays in having a pretty large data set. So some people came up with the idea, hey, we are unable to crawl the internet, but the internet is already crawled. We can access for free the information in common crawl the databases, and we should identify images that have captions and try to build a good data set that could lead to a text-to-image model by finding the pairs that are pretty similar in when they are projected in the vector hyperspace. So what we did first was to analyze the HTML into many billions of internet pages and extract URLs of images and the caption as a text. So we had like this pair, and then we looked at the images, whatever images were live, used OpenAI Clip, which was free to download at the time, and did the vectors, the embeddings for the images and the embeddings for the text. And we calculated the cosine similarity, and just by inspection, visual inspection on several samples, decided to look or retain everything that was like above 0.3. This was for English language. Then we did like a multi-language pass and tried to find thresholds maybe a little bit lower than 0.3. So this is actually how LAION 5B dataset was born. And my personal contribution was to engineer a pipeline that is both efficient and fast. Because actually what we did was to filter from more than 50 billion image text pairs and we didn't knew how much we have to filter or how much will be the result, but in the end we had like a bit above 5 billion pairs. Of course, probably you heard controversial information about this data set having unsafe samples. Yes, it's true. However, we did steps to try to filter out the problematic samples in the first pass. I believe we did a pretty good job, but it's not like absolute. You cannot take everything. So more problematic samples were found. We retired the data set in December, and we are about to relaunch the safe version, probably soon. It is ready, but we are working on the paper and stuff. Of course, is this completely safe? Probably not, because in 5 billion samples, there's no absolute certainty that there's not a single problematic sample left. But now we have a pipeline to redo the work and remove, clean up. So we have to maintain and clean up continuously. Some of the problematic samples are not even in our hands to discover because the algorithms and even the authorization to inspect lays with the government bodies. So we did partner with Internet Watch Foundation and from UK and C3P from Canada to provide us with signatures of candidates that we should remove. And yeah, so we're trying to do our best. One purpose when we released the dataset was actually to bring to light what happens behind the scenes with companies like OpenAI at the time, but now we have Google, we have Microsoft, we have everyone. All the big ones are working with closed data sets, so it was like generating the public discourse of what is behind. At this stage, LAION 5B is not a good data set to build image generator model. It's too noisy and the quality is low. Probably you can use it to, I don't know, make a kind of subsets that can do things, but 2021 and 2022, when we released that in March, was like important because it was the first large public accessible data set, and it allowed to prove that by scaling out you can get results, better results in neural networks trainings. So it was a kind of needed step so the communities know what works and what doesn't work. Today, the data sets to train image text models are sourced elsewhere, commercial sources, and so on. Again, what we wanted to do at LAION was to have an open science approach. So not only disclosing the data set, but we disclosed how we build the data set. We published the code of everything we did. So because science has to be reproducible, so we took steps to allow that. Probably because of this, the dataset is used more as a benchmark for different people around the internet. Yeah, that's my personal opinion about what happened with the LAION 5B datasets. Since then, LAION did a lot of projects where I was not so much involved, because in February 22 I joined Stability as a DevOps engineer, and then dealing again with the infrastructure. I have most experience in infrastructure. I found a solution how to build Stability supercomputer in AWS Cloud. So my work since for the last 2.5 years was about this training cluster. My role says MLOps lead, but I'm like more involved in the research and training part. The deployment is actually managed by another team, so I'm not too much involved with that. I told my managers that my title is a bit misleading. Maybe HPC engineer or HPC lead would be more appropriate, but that's like, I don't know, companies decide to name roles. And I prepared this, let's say, more detailed presentation for later today to go into the details of that. And here we are.
Yeah, this is a really long introduction. It's a really clear timeline. Yeah. So please take us to the very beginning of your career life, maybe your life. What inspired you to the computer?
Well, my parents wanted me to become a doctor. Probably every parent in the world wants the same for the child. But around 11th grade, I felt more attracted to electronics. I was enjoying as a child to build electronic circuits that were available for the general public. Sirens and whatnot. And I felt it was like more close to my heart. So I told my parents, look, I'm going to do electronics. Also, they came to me saying, you want a tutor to prepare for the university exam? I said, no. I have this money for you. No, you buy me a color television. I learned by myself. So I went into the university without any help. And I got a color television when there were very few in my country. So that was cool.
How did you actually get your first bucket of money? There in the university or much earlier in high school?
During the last years of university, I built together with my colleagues a company, and I actually had one PC at the time, which I bought from Germany. So I had to travel to Germany. Father gave me some money, and I just bought a 286 and 287 coprocessor PC, and we used that to actually type university curriculum into a kind of printed way. And we did that for university, creating first printed, including chemical equation, and that was crazy times. And we went to print them to some printing house across the border into the Moldavia. I've been living in Iași. It was northwest of Romania at the time. So yeah, we were selling that, got the first money.
So on your LinkedIn page, I saw that you introduced yourself. First work experience is in the Radix company, yeah?
Yeah.
Yeah, and I saw that's a software company. In fact, you spent 11 or 12 years in your whole life in this company. Yeah.
So this is not the company I mentioned. This is another company, which we started after the first one. I mean, we were like 6 people, but we didn't get along. After first year, when we had to split the money, then we fought. So I left. I made this company Radix with other partners. We became HP dealers in my city. We started to sell computers, printers. So this is how we started with the hardware. But in 11 years, we grew to become a software company. When we sold this company, it was like one of the main SAP providers in Romania, and we had a lot of projects in utilities, like electric energy companies or gas or water distribution. So yeah, it was like a tough 11, 12 years.
So in this period, I think we must be through the internet bubble during this period. Yeah. What's your memories about that?
Well,
bad memories.
the bubble was not so big in Romania. I mean, probably it went very bad in US, but we were pretty much disconnected. So I don't have good or bad memories. It was just not impacting us too much.
That's because no memories. So, and you may have experienced. What about next is the NESS Romania, right?
What?
NESS Romania.
NES. Yes. So we sold Radix to NES Technologies, and we did NES Romania. Doing the same thing, but the owners were different now. So we were bound by contract to work another 3 years after exit. So I did that for 3 years, then left.
No, before that you do the dental clinic.
No, after I.
Before you go to Germany, you do the dental clinic in Romania. Yeah. So I think you already talked about the reason you leave to Romania.
I didn't left Romania. I just moved to another city in Romania, but this city is like more of a German origin.
But where you started LAION is Hamburg, Germany.
Yes, but I mean because the lead of LAION is from Hamburg. So most of the people are Germans, 3 at least. I'm from Romania, there is one from France. So that's why, of course, this is a German organization. It's an EV, which means a association of people. That's like a German thing. It's not a company, it's just a non-profit. And it's actually an unfunded not-profit, so we don't have money. Everyone contributes and contributed with their own free time and expenses and whatever. So more like people association. But we register it because we need to have a research registered research statute. This is important. Gives access to data, easier access to data, and whatnot. So
when you do the master in AI, you say you worked in the DevOps development operations.
no. When I did the master, I was just staying at home. So after that, when I joined Stability, I started to do DevOps based on my experience in infrastructure.
Is there any difference between DevOps and MLOps?
It's just at the time MLOps was not a term, but I was doing what today we call MLOps. It's just called DevOps.
So after your experience in developing the datasets, can you share this experience? And you already shared. So how this impact on your understanding of AI? Is there any changing?
Of course, it was my first contact with a very large-scale
AI project
thing. So scaling up is a challenge. And we had to, actually the initial scripts that we started with, I had to improve over 1,000 times in efficiency to get somewhere. At first, we had some kind of tracker that predicted when we will finish the project.
Yeah.
And at first, the predictions were like in 35 years, 32 years. I said, that's possible, we cannot go like that, maybe 2 years. But so we struggled to improve, but finally we were successful and finished in 8 months. Probably today, knowing what we discovered at the time, we can do the same in, I don't know, 3 or 4 months.
So we recently use AI in your daily life or daily work these days?
Back in 21 or
Oh, now.
today?
Yeah, today,
I'm using Copilot integrated in Visual Studio
Okay.
Code. It's useful.
Do you think 100% of your work has been replaced by
10%.
10%? Yeah. So that means 10% time has been solved by AI.
It's
so more time.
I mean, it's actually when I struggle with the syntax of something, I said, just show me how to write this, and the rest, of course, is just typing.
Yeah. So you had a fascinating career journey from electronic to dental practice with your wife. And I think it will be any marketing and
I've been
during
doing
the dental, I mean.
Yeah, so I'm good with the computers.
Yeah.
I actually learned some medicine, but of course I'm not doctor. I cannot speak, or if I speak, I have to say I'm not doctor. Don't listen to me. But I learned something about implants and stuff. But what I did was mostly computing and making sure that the technical aspects in the clinic, including, I don't know, HVAC and even water filtering, whatever, was like in very good state.
So how did or did the diverse experiences inform your current work, or they not?
Well, the background is important. I saw a joke, which is true, and said, because I'm doing my work in 30 minutes, I had to spend tens of years to learn how to do it in 30 minutes. So you have to pay me for the years, not for the 30 minutes. So that's a true joke. I was able to do my current work very efficiently and, let's say, with very few resources because of all this previous experience. So I'm usually not resting until I reach the solution. So I may spend overnights just to get done with the project quickly. I mean, my surprise, joining Stability was like my first attempt to be employed. And it was my first experience working with engineers outside of Romania. And one of my surprises was that everyone else is slow. So, yeah. It's not, I'm not judging, I'm just finding.
What I think I haven't mentioned is most of our audience is Chinese engineer, Chinese developers, and like programmer. Yeah. So do you think they should have more diverse experiences like you in their current work?
It's hard for me to say. So my experience is so diverse because someone can judge.
I think what I saw is in programmer work, you still need to communicate with the marketing colleague or the operations. You need to communicate with them when you do the engineering. So So, is there any current AI projects or research direction particularly excite you?
Yes. So there is still a big problem which is not solved in again computer vision datasets, large datasets. So the problem is that storage is expensive. So usually everyone selects an object store like S3 or S3 compatible to keep these large datasets at the lowest possible cost. This kind of storage comes with one big issue, which is the latency. So this is like high bandwidth, high latency storage. Now, S3 compatible storages are not the same. I discovered that AWS S3 has a pretty good implementation, so it can withstand a lot of bandwidth, much more than, for instance, Cloudflare R2. Cloudflare R2 came later, but it's slower. In my benchmarks, maybe 8 to 10 times slower.
Your benchmark, your personal.
My personal benchmarks, yes. It might be not true, so don't take this for granted. But using the same infrastructure, I couldn't read from Cloudflare fast enough. But anyway, that's like everyone goes for S3 storage. Then to overcome the high latency problem, you have to pack multiple samples on a single file. So the seek of the file will get divided by the number of samples when you download an entire tar. Because this is important in the data loaders, you have to be faster with the data loader than the GPU is able to ingest, or any other accelerator. So that holds true. So the most problematic point in machine learning training is to have fast data loader. Computer vision training, it's the same. You have to read from this less expensive storage. You have to work in using the web dataset format. Now, this format is good, it solves this problem, but when you want to create a subset to filter some samples, I don't know, you want to extract all images that contain a human to do a human pose model or something like that, you have to do a subset. And when you do a subset, you have to compose again another web data set, another tar files, and actually what happens in 2 years, instead of holding just the initial raw data set, you consume maybe 10 times more space in the storage. So the storage again becomes very, very expensive. So, yeah, I'm interested to find a solution where you can store not in a tar format, but every sample separately, still use the S3 kind storage for cost purposes. Keep the metadata in some kind of, let's call it database, where you can query and filter, and maybe the subsets can be converted from just by tagging the specific rows in the database. So, and the new data loaders, you just say, hey, I want to use this subset. Okay, I'm just running a query by tag, and that should be fast enough. And then the data loader should be able to pull from S3, maybe through a kind of intermediate layer based on faster storage, NVMe, whatever, that can prefetch and get rid of the high latency of the S3 storage. So, yeah, reducing cost with storage for computer vision datasets is still a problem that needs solving. Maybe someone solved it but didn't publish. By using commercial products, I have some pretty good ideas how to do that today, but it's still not open source, so there's still work to do. Yeah.
Yeah, I think you're right because I'm AI news worker, so I think it's one of the OpenAI most serious problem they're facing now. So for the personal insight, did ChatGPT 3.5 it first come up? How is your first impression? Did it excite you, or you think it need to do better? What do you think in that time?
Actually, I didn't care too much about LLMs.
No, really?
I know they are important, and of course, we were like focused on image models. Of course, today LLMs are very important, and I have a good opinion about them. Especially the recently launched Llama 3.1.
Yeah, that means DALL-E.
Yeah. I believe the future of AI is in applied, where you have to build these workflows between models to really create what you need. So even if you generate an image, you have to go through an LLM to describe better the prompt, another kind of model to, I don't know, improve the safety of the process and not allow, of course, illegal stuff to be created, because that's very easy to create. Even if you don't train on illegal stuff, the models have the power to combine concepts, so you can probably create outputs that are illegal just by combining concepts in the bad way. So yeah, efforts must be done to prevent that.
So there was news last year. I think it's last year, or there's a coffee shop, a cafe. They use AI technology and they let a camera to scan the face of the employees and the customer, so the AI can calculate the employees' working time, rest time, whether they are slacking off, or how much the customers spend on, or how long they sit in the cafe. So this is about the responsible AI news. Yeah. So what do you think of these ethical issues extended by AI?
Of course, AI can be used for everything. Fire can be used for everything. So we are still in early days where it's very hard to define. I mean, some of the applications are clearly good. Some are clearly bad. Where is the threshold? We don't know. It's still a very gray area. I believe simply the history will tell. So maybe in 5 years we'll know better. It clearly can be used for good and for bad. And I believe governments must answer many of these questions. How to regulate that? The industry needs regulation, otherwise it can go pretty wild in search for success or money or whatever the incentive industry has. Yeah, it's delicate and there is danger. And I believe AI will be used for bad purposes.
Yeah.
But the answer is not let's stop AI.
Yeah.
So some people say no, let's stop or let's remove everyone's ability. I believe the population and the countries need to have access as much as possible so they can have a chance to counteract the bad applications.
So just connect to another same question about the bias of AI. So AI always they automatically sets doctor as man and nurse as woman. So where do you think this bias came from? Is the data, or because a human has bias? So is the data set can do? Like what you do is text to image data set, right? So if you put more man doctor images than female doctor images in the data set, will this bias comes up?
Yes. So the bias comes from the data set, that's
Yeah.
clearly, and the data set bias comes from human bias. So this is one thing that we wanted to prove with the LAION 5B, because we didn't curate the LAION 5B. We even let samples of not suitable for work kind, just to be able to calculate how many of these are. We tried to remove the illegal. We did efforts. So, but then some of that, which was not illegal but problematic, we left because the science need to answer these questions. Someone had to train a good, not suitable for work predictor to be used on further works downstream. So we have to study the bias. So LAION 5B came unfiltered from Common Crawl, which is just a snapshot of the internet. So this bias is actually coming from the internet, from what everyone published along the years. And it's not like someone said you have to train a model using LAION 5B. No, you have to study LAION 5B, understand the bias, do something about it if there is any need. Everyone has a purpose. Some people want to have equality, diversity, and whatnot. And they should work to filter and create subsets that are able to provide that. Some people just want to do medical research. There's little bias in having lung x-rays.
Mm-hmm.
So that's lung x-rays, could be woman or man, that's no bias there. So you just do that, you don't need to worry too much about bias. Yeah, so this is true, and when you train a model, the research team should be aware and should have tools to curate the data set in such a way that it is appropriate for whatever model they want to train.
So, what major challenges have you faced in your career, and how did you overcome them?
Well, that's I'm not necessarily proud of that. I had difficulties dealing with people, so I'm introvert.
Before LAION? Or?
I'd say since I was born as a child, and maybe now I'm more open than before because of the experience. So dealing with people was like difficult.
Mm-hmm.
That includes my own employees. So somehow this pushed me to do more of the things on my own. So I learned how to manage a company, then how to make marketing, how to write code, everything. So did a lot of things alone and became better on on many aspects because of that. So that's the main challenge, I would say. And the impact was that I'm better at everything else in the technical aspect.
Actually, I'm still wondering, the ivory dental did with your wife, what you actually did, it's more like a digital dentist, because I searched on the web of the ivory dental. Yeah.
So I've built from let's say empty space. I've built the infrastructure, everything, including of course I didn't paint the walls, but I hired the people to do the wall painting and everything, and computer system, and I was doing the first dental marketing in the country, in my country. We went to the top position on Google search, and the Google search is most utilized in Romania. And we had like a pretty good couple of years because of that. And then other people with more money were able to overcome. That's why we sold. That was not possible to stay in a pole position.
How many employees in the dental?
In the dental, it's like the doctors were like partners, not employees. We had to employ the lower medical staff and reception and things like that. Maybe 10, 12.
Yeah, about the data set, we can have a switch change. Because I saw Andrew Kapasi and his teacher, Feifei Li, they define the good data sets as large, clean, and diverse. So how do you view the importance of data quality and diversity in AI development? So do you agree with the...
Yes, of course. They are very right, and that's like what time proved since 22 up to today is we need large because the scaling laws are true, and at LAION there is research that proves the scaling laws are true. I didn't participate, but I believe it can be found. So you need large. Then clean, of course, because you need to eliminate the problems from the get-go. So maintaining the data set is primordial. In the open world, like LAION works, is like I said, we are not funded. We don't have cash to maintain the data set easily. So we need contributors from open source to actually look into the data set, help with this. This is why it's open source. This is why we need a broader community to contribute. So yes, cleaning, at least for the open data sets, should be get more contributors. That's not enough. What's happening today is not enough. Should be more. And the last one was?
Diverse.
Diverse, yes, of course. You can have a very unbalanced. LAION 5B is very unbalanced. Yeah. For instance, the WordPress logo is the most frequent sample. So it would be good if we can reduce the WordPress logo to just one appearance in the data set. So yes, there was a second study later, also released under LAION, which and the University of Washington, which is called DataComp. So that was like an effort to demonstrate that creating the right balance and the right diversity is useful. And there is a paper about that, so yeah.
Yeah, you just say you only do the 5B data set, I mean, do the most of the work. So will you continue to do LAION work in the future?
I'm trying more from a management point of view. So I want to bring LAION somehow under or in collaboration with Linux Foundation, because at LAION we have we are researchers.
Yeah.
We don't know how to do business necessarily. We have no employees, so that's really hard. The legal part is really tough for us. So LAION Foundation is very good at this. It's a very good organizer. They have a great legal team, and it would be great to try to cooperate with Linux Foundation. So this kind of work, mostly. Of course, if I need to update the DNS, I will do that. That's like a low value work, but someone has to do it. So
what is your vision now to the AI, especially the word AGI, generator? And it should be open or closed? Should it be only, or there will be many AGI?
I believe we are just at the beginning of a very busy decade in AI, which will shape the face of the world somehow. I believe OpenAI is essential, and I have a lot of gratitude for Meta of how they approach it. We would not be in as good shape if they would go close to us. We need to have a lot of small models that are specialized. We need to have even intermediate models that run locally. I believe the enterprise has to run everything on their own network because prompt leaking would be a tremendous risk to lose the intellectual property and stuff. So yeah, everything that's happening today is led by the need and is important.
Yeah. So for newcomers to the AI field, what advice would you give? What key skills and knowledge areas should they focus on?
Yann LeCun from Meta said, don't try to do LLMs because this is in the hand of big corporations.
Yes.
And he's true. Who has $500 million just to buy the necessary data sets? Let alone the training. So yeah, taking these LLMs and fine-tuning them, propose them for a specialized application, that's okay. So you don't have to understand the fundamental science of a foundational data set, foundational model. But if you focus on how fine-tuning works, probably would be a better investment of time in learning. That's for LLMs. Other models, it's very diverse. So some models that nobody thought about yet are very good to go after. Yeah.
So last question is, in this rapidly evolving AI landscape, how can developers and researchers maintain competitiveness and innovation?
There is a great potential for innovation all over the world. and I have to praise Chinese researchers because I saw a lot of cool stuff coming out of China, so congrats. Innovation will always be interesting for getting to good applications later, attracting capital, whatever. So going with the innovation is, I believe, a good move. Repeating other people's work just for a marginal gain, let's say, oh, I'm now 0.5% better, but this is just for next 2 days because someone else will come and beat me. Yeah. It's not necessarily lucrative or I don't know, interesting for me.
Yeah. Okay, thank you, Richard, for the exciting discussion, and thanks for all the developers watching. That's all for today's interview. So see you next time, and goodbye.
Thank you, goodbye.